He is the flashy Pathfinder main, an aim beast, and a top-tier pub stomper. But most importantly, he's just a content creator. Well, Timmy just proved everyone wrong. He's going to LAN and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Now, I could end the story here, but seeing how far Timmy has made it and all the sacrifices that he has made in order to get here are nothing but incredibly inspiring. How exactly did this happen? Let me tell you the story. During the first iiTzTimmy pro hype train, Timmy got his first taste of the pro scene under the team Golden Guardians. He played alongside Fitter and Bronzy, and their performances were not so good. Out of all the tourneys that they played together, their highest placement was 7th in the ESA tournament held all the way back in June 2020. Although Timmy and his teammates tried to implement new strategies like playing Edge, which was still a foreign concept at the time, it always ended up falling flat in their faces. One of the reasons why they kept failing was because Timmy was still very inexperienced as a leader, not to mention IGLing while playing on the Edge was a different beast on its own, requiring an insane amount of precognition, game sense, and quick shot calling, skills that iiTzTimmy at the time just didn't have. They always ended up either getting themselves into a deadly situation or getting both themselves and the other team killed. It even got so bad to the point where other pros actually started nicknaming them the Golden Griefers because of how much they were unintentionally screwing teams over. And of course, Timmy being a content creator greatly increased the amount of criticism that he received as a pro player. It was as if the entire Apex community suddenly had an opinion on Timmy's pro career, with some people telling him to get better, others telling him he sucks, and some even telling him to quit. All this criticism began to weigh heavily on Timmy, and when he couldn't take it anymore, he left. For Timmy, playing comp wasn't worth the mental stress of constantly being criticized for every move that you make, whether it's good or, well, bad. He decided to focus all of that effort on streaming and content creation instead. And through grinding pubs, pulling off insane world records, and even being the first to solo queue the Predator in one sitting, he gained thousands of viewers, thousands of subscribers, and became one of the steeples in the streaming space, not just as an Apex Legends content creator, but as a Twitch streamer overall. But even though it paid off, it seemed like Timmy was missing something. He had a void to fill, a void that could only be filled by competing. His mind was saying no, but his heart was saying yes. And in the end, he decided to follow his heart. With the experience of playing together with Nicewig in a Twitch Rivals tournament, Timmy and Nicewig came together to form Team Sheesh all the way in 2021. This team consisted of Nicewig, Uprise, and Timmy. It was a team centered around playing competitive Apex while still having some fun. Now, while they did manage to do that, it was really only for a little while. Team Sheesh started having some internal problems like time constraints alongside some more public problems like their overall performance, which eventually resulted in them pulling out of the ALGS mid-season. Dropping out of the ALGS mid-season was a pretty controversial move to say the least, and some pros believed it was terrible of them to drop out in the middle of a season, as the spot would have gone to some other hungrier team if Team Sheesh hadn't occupied the slot in the first place. This whole ordeal definitely sparked some controversy within the competitive community, which actually prompted a response from Nicewig saying that he had a pretty good reason for not participating, announcing that he stepped down from the roster due to personal issues, and understandably at the time not elaborating farther. From an outside perspective, it was clear that the team wouldn't last for much longer, but nonetheless, Timmy and the boys braced up and got ready for the next ALGS split, but little did they know, it would be their last. And when the split finally started, they were struggling to make it out of the Challenger circuit, but still somehow persevered and eventually made it out to the LCQs. They actually made it all the way through to the last chance qualifiers, where they would have the opportunity of making it to the ALGS Championship LAN. And playing at a LAN has always been a dream for Timmy, who's never made it to an ALGS LAN before, even when he competed with the Golden Guardians. The first day of the LCQ came around and it was a pretty rough one, but they still managed to squeeze out a 5th placement, which could help set them up for day 2 of the LCQ. Day 2 of the LCQ finally came around and it went, yeah, Team Sheesh placed 16th, and yeah, it's safe to say they would not be going to LAN. But I do wonder if it really mattered. The team's main purpose was to have fun. I mean, they never scrimmed, they never practiced, and they were still able to put up good performance in previous competitions. But as the days went by, they weren't having as much fun as they used to. What was once a source of joy became a burden that would pull them down. The constant criticism they received from the rest of the community, the pros, some streamers, didn't help him out in any way. So after that tournament, Team Sheesh officially disbanded as a pro team. Timmy and iiTzTimmy both went back to creating content, and Nicewig started to focus more on the ALGS casting through his watch parties. This decision was met with mixed reactions from the community. Fans of Team Sheesh were sad about the breakup, while others believed it was the right decision since they weren't even fully committed. And after the whole Team Sheesh chapter had closed, Timmy himself was not motivated to play competitive Apex anymore, because every decision, good or bad, was put under scrutiny. You could say that the hate actually got to him. And at the time, this seemed to be the end of Timmy's pro story. But as we all know, it's pretty far from the truth. As the months went by, Timmy continued making content and getting good views as well. But you could really tell that he wasn't satisfied with just that. The void in his heart seemed as deep as ever. He tried filling it by streaming different game and playing less and less Apex. He played Overwatch, Valorant, Escape from Tarkov. Hell, he even slept on stream, all to fill that hole. But nothing got close to the thrill of the competition. Now, don't get me wrong, he was still very much involved in the Apex community, but something felt amiss. It also didn't help that, as he later admitted, he was dealing with depression at the time. And this continued for a couple of months until he started talking to a therapist to figure out his mental health. And it's safe to say that therapist changed everything. Later on, after watching his favorite team TSM dominate at LAN, a fire was lit once again in the void within Timmy's heart. He wanted that. The screams.
Got me.
I can't see.
I'll drop in a second. Join me. I'm shooting on him.
The pressure.
On us. I cracked valve. I'm shooting on him.
I got fried. I got killed. Res me.
I'm going down. I'm vaulting a roof.
And the glory of competing at a LAN. And on the 15th of March in 23, Timmy put out a tweet longer on his Twitter announcing his return to competitive Apex, with everyone going crazy. But this immediately begged the question, who is Timmy going to play with? At first, Timmy decided to play alongside Lyric, yep, that Lyric, and Ottr, which received some criticism from the CEO himself. And a lot of people felt like he wasn't taking this as seriously as he could, and only a few weeks later, Ottr had to drop out of the team because of family issues. This meant that they brought in Tempest FPS to try and salvage the situation, but as Hal predicted, that team didn't really work out either. Lyric ended up quitting comp entirely, so Bronzy, who was their coach at the time, had to step in, but that actually just led to even more problems in the scrims and the challenger circuits where Bronzy and Timmy were counter-calling each other.
I should've won.
No. We cannot. I cannot help you.
Okay.
Leading to confusion and failures within the team. And just like the last time, a wave of criticism flooded Timmy's way once again. But Timmy had been here before, and this time around, with the experience behind him, he could take the heat and therefore make some level-headed decisions. The first thing he did was to set up a community competition called Timmy Scrims, where the top players would compete for a prize. He set this up because at the time, and I guess in general, there wasn't really any good way of getting practice in as a professional player, playing for regular scrims even with other pro teams, because all of the pro teams were just throwing each other's games without caring too much about them. He made it turn so people would actually play the game seriously, and so that he and his own team could actually improve at the game. Timmy was more than dedicated and willing to put everything on the line to make this dream come true. And so he separated criticism from pure hate, and he put together a new team consisting of Designful and Enemy, who were experienced players in their own right. Especially Designful, a top controller player who had previously competed for G2 before the org fell apart. Their team was to be named The Dojo, and they went on a rampage. Together they blazed through the challenger circuit, and it was all because of the wealth of experience brought by Designful and Enemy. Timmy had always been insane at the game, but what he really lacked was experience, and their challenger circuit run proved that with a little guidance, he could be a dominant comp player. By June 20th, in a comfortable second place, they qualified for the Last Chance qualifiers, a competition that gave players the opportunity to make it to the ALGS Championship LAN and compete in front of thousands. And this was, of course, Timmy's goal. When the LCQ finally came, the boys were locked in and ready to put on a show for everyone. After watching Dark Zero claim victory at the LAN in London, they were burning with even more passion and ready to show the results of the countless of hours of training and grinding. Timmy had put in an insane amount of effort this time around, and it wasn't just effort, it was effort applied in the right places of his game. In the past, he had just been a clueless fragger trying to lead a team, but with the guidance he had received from his new teammates and his willingness to make this dream come true, Timmy was truly ready. The first day of the LCQ came around and the boys were cooking. They had an average of 10 points per game with a couple of wins, putting them at 78 points total for the second place. There were just a few kills off the first place, since first place also had the same number of points, but this was a good sign. Timmy was proving that they didn't just come here for the ride, they came here to win. And on the second day, they plowed through the opposition. They came in first place with a monstrous 137 points with 82 kills. This put them on a whopping 71-point lead above Furia.
Nice. 1v2.
1v1 versus Watson. He gets shut down. Watson says, sit the hell down. It's fun. It's a 1v for the brand. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Yes, that Furia, who ended up on second place. Timmy himself had 36 kill points to his name, which was more kills than what some other teams got in total. The reaction from the community was that of absolute shock. Everyone was in awe of what was transpiring before their very eyes. Who would have thought that Timmy, the content creator, the pub stomper, the guy who solo queued in ranked sometimes, was capable of pulling off something like this? But he wasn't done yet. Thanks to their performance in day 2, the dojo went into the finals with a 10-point average as per ALGS rules. This meant that they were already in the best spot to win the whole thing, and that's exactly what they did. The vibes were simply immaculate. Timmy had done it. The dojo is going to LAN. Much to the surprise of everyone and to the shame of the haters, he had persevered and achieved what seemed to be the impossible. This so-called content creator had shown that with enough work and dedication, anything is possible. You have to imagine how the doubters must have been feeling at that moment. But he's a content creator. I've been doing this for so long but didn't make it. How? But the believers held their heads up with pride at what their streamer had done. Immediately, thousands of messages flooded in, congratulating Timmy and the boys on their victory. Even those who weren't part of the Apex community saw this as a huge win for creators. And of course, this win meant a lot for Designful as well. Since G2 had fallen apart, his pro career had been going through a bit of a rut, and it was amazing to see all of these efforts finally pay off for him as well. Nevertheless, the dream had been achieved. Months of hard work had secured Timmy a spot at the greatest stage of them all, the ALGS Championships. As for how he's gonna perform at LAN, we're just gonna have to wait. What I do know is that Timmy's pro journey is an inspiration to everyone out there, especially those who are scared to follow their dreams because of a little backlash or criticism that they might face. Who knows? Maybe we might see Asu come back for one last ride. I can't help but feel inspired by what Timmy has done. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed this style of video, make sure to subscribe and of course check out the video on the screen if you want to learn more about Timmy's path to stardom. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.